Hey folks, it's Ray with Taste Radio. Right now I'm honored to be sitting down with a living legend, NFL Hall of Famer Troy Aikman. Troy, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for joining me today. You know, it really is an honor to be sitting down with you, although it's kind of surreal because you caused me a lot of grief in the early 90s. That's because I'm a Buffalo Bills fan, a lifelong Buffalo Bills fan. And we weren't
Well,
friends, you and I, back in the day.
yeah, well, I apologize for that, but you've had a lot more to cheer about here in recent years than the Cowboys have.
Yeah, I would say so. We got a great future. I think the Cowboys might have a pretty good future too, but the way Josh Allen was playing in the playoffs, I mean, my goodness, what a guy.
Oh, he's terrific. Yeah, I worked that draft when he was coming out of Wyoming. I was at his pro day up there in Laramie, and to see where he was projected when he was coming into the draft and what he's been able to do relative to that entire draft class amongst those quarterbacks is impressive. He's been awesome.
Yeah, I think awesome is a perfect word to describe the way he's been playing. Prior to jumping on the mics, you mentioned to one of our producers that you were previously an owner of the San Diego Padres, which I wasn't aware of. I don't know why I didn't know that, but you've also held investment stakes in Wingstop, the fast food or fast casual restaurant chain, and a car dealership as well. I'm curious, prior to joining or prior to founding 8 Beer, how did you evaluate investment or business opportunities that came your way?
Each one's a little bit different as to what the reasoning or the logic was behind the investment. The Wingstop side of it began with the fact that I would take my offensive lineman to Wingstop when I was a player. And then they approached me and really believed in their concept. And it was personal. It was emotional for me and wanted to be a part of it. And then it turned into a board seat, turned into an investor as well. And that company is still thriving. I mean, it was a great success story as for someone like myself who got in relatively on the ground level. But I tend to get involved in things that I'm passionate about that are consistent with who and what I am. And it's a big reason why then I got into the beer business. I felt that it was something that we could do effectively that would be authentic to who I am and be consistent with my lifestyle. I've been loosely involved in the beer business going back to my college days. I worked at a distributorship when I was transferring from the University of Oklahoma to UCLA. And I met my now partners, and we felt like we could do it differently. We could do it in a way that wasn't available on the market right now, something new, something fresh. And I feel like we achieved that. I'm very proud of the end product and excited about the response that we've gotten from the consumers that have tried it.
You know, Troy, you're entering one of the most competitive businesses in the beverage industry, as you mentioned. I have to think that you could have been, or you could be just as successful aligning with an existing brand. So why start your own? I mean, I know you said you saw white space there for a brand like 8, but for someone with your profile, it could just be just as easy to, make as much money or be just as successful aligning with an existing product.
Well, it probably would have been easier, but it wouldn't have been as rewarding. And I met my partners through a mutual friend. And we began a conversation of whether or not we wanted to pursue this and make a light beer. And when we looked at the category, we just felt like it was time for something new and something fresh. And I thought that we could do it differently, something that was not readily available. And so we started down that path. There was a lot of work, a lot of trial and error along the way, over 2 years in the making. But what we came up with is 8. And what differentiates us from others is that we have no adjuncts and no fillers, meaning we have no corn, no rice, no syrups, no added sugars. And yet we're 90 calories and 2.6 carbs. So we fit the measurables, if you will, if those are important to you. And I don't think we sacrifice taste. I think the taste is amazing. So it's something that I'm really proud of. It's a lifestyle brand. And my approach, I've always been very mindful of what I put in my body, and I work out hard. I've been a lifelong athlete, but I also enjoy having a beer with family and friends and whenever we're celebrating, life's small victories. And I wanted to be able to do it without compromising all the work that's put in during the week. And I feel 8 does that better than anything that's on the market right now. So it's unique. It's been well received. And I'm real proud of what we have.
Now, I did an interview last year with someone you played with in the NFL, Jerry Rice, who is the co-founder of an energy drink brand called Goat Fuel. And getting into that business was easy for him because his daughter is one of the co-founders of the company. For you, did it take a lot of convincing for you to get involved with this project? Was it your idea to begin with? What I'm wondering is if you can talk about the origins of 8 Beer.
Well, let me first say it's interesting because I think 8 is goat fuel. So Jerry might have stole our idea. No, it was. I've always been a beer drinker. I've always liked beer. Never imagined that I would be making my own beer. But as I mentioned, when I was introduced to my now partners, and one of whom, Doug Campbell, has had a career in the beer space, was president of Amagang Brewery, and that's what initially started that conversation. And I thought it was, I thought we could do it in a way that would better serve a lot of people out there than what was readily available on the market now. And also, I thought it'd be a great business and a fun business to be a part of. So that's really why I dove into it. And I couldn't be more excited about the way in which we've gone about doing it. I've learned over the years to really bet on people more so than a product or a technology. And I bet on my partners as much as I bet on our ability to come up with something that we had envisioned. And every step of the way, that has proven itself out. So the response has been amazing as we went around and we met with distributors and key retailers about our idea and our concept. They were even as enthusiastic as we were. So that only got me, believing more that, hey, there is a real need for something new. And we're here to fill that void.
Now, your name, as far as I know, is not on the can. Obviously, people can make the reference to 8 and your jersey number, but how are you personally planning to be involved in marketing and promoting this brand? You talked about meeting with distributors, and I've seen you bartend at certain restaurants and bars in Texas as well. But how far does your, I guess, celebrity and fame go, or how far do you think it should go as you are building this brand?
Well, I don't feel that 8 is, I don't look at it as that it is a celebrity founded brand. I guess it is if you view me as a celebrity. So I understand that. So I'm not naive to that. But what I mean by that is I've been involved with this from the inception. Every element of this company and what we do, I've got fingerprints on. The story, when I say that we're a lifestyle brand and what essentially we are, we made a beer for people who wake up in the mornings and that are passionate and have a purpose to be the best they can be. And to be the best they can be, they have to put in the work in order to see that through. And I do that every day through my health and wellness and through my pursuits. And then when I decide that I want to have a moment to celebrate life's moments or time with family and friends, I don't want to compromise all that work that's been put in. And the people that this beer has been made for are those that either want to be the best version of themselves. They want to put in the time to build a business. They want to put in the time to pursue a dream. There's a lot of work that's involved in doing that. And to be able to do it and still enjoy and celebrate and have balance within their life and not compromise all that, that's the story of my life. My athletic endeavors, my success after my football career, whether that's through broadcasting or investments or other businesses that I've been a part of, all have that common theme. And it's about putting in the work and putting in the time. And that's what this beer is about. It's about having balance, and it's about not compromising all the hard work that's required in order to see your goals through. So my involvement within this company is at every level. What does that mean? It means whatever it takes. Do I feel like I'm just merely a spokesman for 8 beer? No, it goes way beyond that. And I think that I'm certainly out in front of this. I think because of my involvement, because of the name of this beer, and because people know that I'm associated with it. But this beer, in a lot of ways, already does, and it certainly will in time. It'll stand on its own. There's people who have asked me whether or not we're going to move outside the state of Texas, and my hope is we do. But if we stay only in the state of Texas, we could have a really good business. But if we're talking about moving outside of the state of Texas, it's because there's a real demand and people want our beer, in those regions. And if they do, it's not only Cowboys fans that are going to enjoy this beer. This beer goes well beyond my association with the Dallas Cowboys or the fact that I wore number 8. The product itself will stand alone, as I think it does already in a lot of ways, but it certainly will in the future.
It's interesting, Troy, you talked about your own lifestyle in relation to how you thought about developing this brand, 8. And I've heard other folks talk about how their lifestyle was key to their adoption of or removal of a certain product or brand in their life. And I think specifically about something like non-alcoholic beer. Non-alcoholic beer has had a little bit of a renaissance in that more and more people are finding that it's more aligned with their lifestyle, a healthier lifestyle than a one that does contain alcohol. Did you guys consider, or how did you consider the alcohol content in 8 when you were developing this brand?
Yeah, well, I'm not a non-alcoholic beer drinker. So I drink beer. When I drink beer, I drink alcoholic beer. In order to be authentic and consistent with who I am, that was what I was going to be a part of. Now, is there conversations about other iterations of 8 and what might that look like? Yes, but that's just in projecting down the road. May we at some point make a non-alcoholic beer? Possibly. And there is a segment of people that want a non-alcoholic beer. So I'm not naive to that. But for me and for us, that just wasn't something we were interested in at the time.
You really can't say, and I think you know this for sure, you can't use the word healthy or better for you as it relates to alcoholic beverages. The TTB, the government agency that regulates alcoholic beverages, won't allow that. But everything about 8 has this healthy halo about it. What's the process? What is the messaging and communication that you're trying to get across without using those terms to describe the beer itself?
Well, we use organic ingredients. And as I mentioned, we have no adjuncts and no fillers. So that kind of answers that question in and of itself. 100% organic grains. So I think for people like myself who are mindful of what they're putting in their bodies and yet also strive to have balance. And if there are those people out there like myself who do enjoy a beer from time to time, I think 8 is probably the best choice. At least it is for me. And I think that most other people that look at it objectively would agree with that.
You said choice, and there's a brand out there we haven't mentioned yet, or a product we haven't mentioned, and I won't mention it, but it's the one, it's the leading brand or product in the space that 8 plays in. It's almost like a David versus Goliath kind of battle at this point. 8 is a very small upstart brand, but you are targeting the drinkers of the brand that I won't mention. Is there a level of competitiveness that you guys feel for this sort of David versus Goliath battle? Or is it just, we're going to build organically in the way that we see fit?
Well, the way that I look at it, I mean, I'm certainly not naive to the competition and the category in which we have dove into. I mean, there's over 8,000 breweries across the country, and we chose arguably the most competitive segment. And I understand that. But hey, I look at it this way, and I've said this before, that if I was worried about not being successful, I would have never tried to pursue my dreams of being a professional athlete, and I never would have been the Cowboys quarterback. But so I that doesn't deter us. I feel great about what we have, what we've put together, the team that we've assembled, and the product that we have, and I think we've made a great beer for all the reasons that I've stated. And what that story looks like when it's all said and done, we'll find out. But I love what we have. I'm excited about it. And by all accounts, everywhere we've been, when consumers have tried it, they've been overwhelmed by it as well. So I think we have something that's very unique, something that's new and fresh. And I think people are responding to that.
Clearly, you're not afraid of failure, and that's an incredible thing for an entrepreneur. Well, it might be a requirement for an entrepreneur. However, you are and you have been very successful because of the practice, the preparation, the work that you've put into your endeavors, whether it be a quarterback or whether it be a broadcaster. What did you have to learn? What did you feel like you needed to learn about the beer business to be just as successful, to be just as prepared for this business?
Yeah, there's a lot of work that's required. I think what I have, I don't even want to say what I've learned because I've already known it. I've been at this for a long time in terms of building businesses or being a part of successful teams. I think the foundations of that are the same. You surround yourself with really talented, smart, hardworking people, and that's where it all begins. And that's where it began with us. I have great partners. They're all smart, very methodical in their thinking, understand the space, the category, the industry in which we're in. And we've hired like-minded people. We've been very meticulous in who we've brought into this team that we have. We call Team 8. And like my playing career, so many people know me because of the Cowboys quarterback back in the mid-90s and our successes, but it doesn't change. And I think anyone who's been in business, who's been a part of sports would tell you the same thing. It takes a lot of talented people all working in the same direction, all pulling in the same direction in order to have success. And so that's been our mindset. We're not afraid to roll up our sleeves and do whatever it takes. And we surround ourselves with those same kinds of people. So I'm not afraid of failure. It doesn't mean that I haven't had failures. We all have. But it does mean that we give ourselves the best possible chance to have success because of the people we surround ourselves with and those that we align ourselves with. So that's been the way that we've gone about building 8. Every step of the way, our mantra is no shortcuts, no excuses. And we take no shortcuts and we make no excuses. We don't now, we haven't at any time, and we won't in the future.
You mentioned you've had failures in your life. Are you talking about failures in business?
Yeah, I've had failures in business, things that I've invested in that I believed in. I've had failures as an athlete, I've had failures in my personal life. I would hope you have as well. I don't know that you're human if you haven't. So I think people look at those who have been successful and all they see are the successes. But yeah, it's the failures that have allowed me in order to have my successes.
What failures in business specifically have taught you how to avoid future failures as you approach and adopt new endeavors in your life?
Well, when I look back over the things that I felt would have turned out better than they did, the common denominator was that I didn't have the people that could execute it, or we didn't have the people that could execute it. It hasn't been about the product. It hasn't been about, I've been involved in some technology companies that haven't gone as well as what I would have hoped. It wasn't because the technology wasn't great. It wasn't because of what we were pushing wasn't what I thought it was. It was that we didn't have the people to execute it. So I've learned in my career to bet on the people. And if you have good people, it doesn't guarantee success, but it gives you a chance. And without good people and without talented, smart people, you have no chance, in my opinion.
What's your ultimate goal with 8 Beer? Because I think, there's, as you mentioned, a great opportunity just to stay in one state and build the brand from there. And, given the size of Texas and the number of bars and restaurants in the state, you could have a pretty successful business. However, there is an opportunity to go far beyond that. So, what is the end goal here? Is there one?
There's not for me, no. I want us to be successful. So I guess the follow-up question to that would be, what is success? To me, success is that we're profitable. Beyond that, and I don't have any thoughts. I'm asked a lot, hey, when are you going to be available in this state? Are you going to leave Texas? And, maybe we will, maybe we won't. It'd be great if we do. It'd be great if we're national, but I don't start this out by saying, boy, we're only successful if we leave the state of Texas or if X happens. I'm just in it to build this company, build a great company, build a great brand, something that we can all be proud of. And if we're profitable in the process of doing that, and we never left the state of Texas, I'd be thrilled. I honestly do not look at this with some end goal. I really haven't viewed my life in that way. I knew at a young age I wanted to be a professional athlete, so I guess that's the only time I've really projected that far out in advance. But usually, I'm pretty much locked into what has to take place in the here and the now, and what the next steps are. I mean, as we're talking, our beer is only available on premise in the state of Texas. We haven't even launched yet off premise. So that's coming up in April, and then we'll see what happens from there. But to be trying to project what is the end game when we haven't even gotten into grocery stores or convenience stores, it's a little premature.
It's so amazing and so refreshing to hear you say that, because I think in our business, a lot of times people are asked about the end game and they say, well, it's to sell. It's to sell to a big, to a big company or a conglomerate. And it's for you to say, well, I just want to be profitable, investors would love you, because that's exactly what investors are looking for. On that note, as you continue to build your team, what's most important? What are you looking for for the next stage of development for 8? And I know it's still really early into the brand's development, but are you looking for investment? Are you looking for other partners to help promote the brand? Other people, other professional athletes? What helps you get to the next level?
Yeah, there'll be another capital raise at the right time. When that's necessary, which we understand. Our initial raise was really primarily family and friends, and then there will be another one that'll help advance us to the next level. But yeah, that's the approach. I think to follow up on your point, I think people get in trouble when they're in the sports world. There's a lot of people who are always looking for their next job. What's their next best opportunity? And that's not how I've operated. So I think if for me anyway, I don't want to speak for others, but for me, if I went into this thinking, hey, our idea of success is when we sell, or our goal is to sell, then I think you're getting into it for all the wrong reasons. That's not why I've gotten into anything. I've never gotten into anything to sell it. I've gotten into everything because I think it makes sense. I think it's something that we can grow. And if down the road, somebody were to want to acquire us and it made sense for us, it may not make sense for us, then so be it. We'll cross that path when we get there. But we're just trying to build the best brand that we can possibly build.
Well, I mean, in one case in your professional career, the goal was simple. It was win the Super Bowl, right? In this case, it's to be profitable. I think there's probably some inequality there, but maybe not. I mean, would it be just as rewarding to you for 8 to be successful in the way you believe it to be as, say, winning the Super Bowl?
Yeah, we want to be the best light beer on the market. However anyone defines that, that's where we want to be.
Well, Troy, as I mentioned at the top of our conversation, it's really an honor to sit down with you. I've tried your beer. It's great. I'm not typically a light beer drinker, but yours really does fit the bill for what I think people want these days. And I wish you all the success going forward. Hopefully one day I can come out to Texas and I'll see you behind a bar, and I would love to share a beer with you. An 8 beer, that is.
There's nothing I'd love more. I hope to see you in person, and I hope that I'm pouring your first 8 beer to you.
I will be wearing a Buffalo Bills cap, no doubt. So I hope that's okay.
That would be more than fine. That'd be more than fine.
All right, fair enough. Troy, once again, thanks so much for taking the time and good luck with everything going forward.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you.
All right, you too.